Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Mailbox, which is later than Build, but unfortunately that's just the way things have been lately. I'm actually... things are a bit hectic at my end lately, which is why my schedule has basically gone out of the window, and I'm just uploading stuff whenever I can. The reason for that is I've got a lot of real life stuff going on. Not to mention, for example, I actually have to go sit an exam on this Thursday. So I'm really I'm more revising than anything else at this point. So it means I haven't had a chance to get a big backlog of videos up like I had before, and I'm basically just sort of struggling to get content recorded and uploaded on time at the moment. So that's the thing. That's why the mailbox didn't go up every 2 weeks as scheduled, because I just got ambushed by real life stuff, and there's nothing I can do about that really. It's just what it is. That's basically how things have been at my end recently. Just very, very hectic and irritating, and juggling a lot of responsibilities all at once. It's been a bit of a pain, but never mind. So, yeah, I've managed to sit down and get some time to do this now, though. So that's what we're going to do. So look, without further ado, I suppose I might as well just get on with it. So, I probably think the video probably looks a bit different to the way it did last time. I'm still messing around with the format. I don't really know how I'm gonna do it yet. Exactly. I had some nice ideas with the previous format, but not entirely happy with it yet. So I'm changing things around a bit, and it probably looks different as a result. I haven't, as yet. I'm recording this audio in Audacity, so I've not even opened Sony Vegas yet, and I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it. But I know I'm gonna do something different. So yeah. Anyway. So moving on to the actual questions. First of which is a general question, which I kind of probably should have answered last time, but I forgot about it. And that is, what happened to Fallout 3 and Dragon Age? Well, Fallout 3 is a pain in the arse. And the reason it's a pain in the arse is because pretty much all the music in Fallout 3, and this includes just the ambient music and not the radio music, is sort of copyrighted and comes up in Content ID scans, which means that pretty much every other video I've uploaded of Fallout 3, I get nothing from it. It all goes to some sort of record label out there that owns the rights to the soundtrack for Fallout 3. So, yeah, it's a pain in the arse to upload from that perspective because I get nothing for it. And not to mention the game itself is very buggy, it's very glitchy. It gave me no end of problems. I probably spent more hours trying to fix that game than I did actually playing it in the end. I originally planned to try and continue it as a stream, and I may still do that, but I don't know. My patience has worn quite thin with Fallout 3, and I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. Had I known at the time that it was a good idea to do so, I probably would have started the LP using the Tale of Two Wastelands mod and played it on the New Vegas engine, because that is actually more stable, as it turns out. And that's what I would have done, but I haven't. So, oh well, basically. What can you do? Yeah, Dragon Age, on the other hand, that will continue at some point. Dragon Age is fine. That game was quite a pleasure to play by comparison. I just started it at a very silly time, where I really didn't have enough time to record it on top of everything else I was doing, and I just basically decided on a whim, you know what, I want to play Dragon Age, well, let's do this. And then, later realised this was a terrible mistake, I regret this decision. I don't regret playing the game, of course, because it's a very good game, and I really enjoy playing it. And Harold, the grumpy dwarf, was a cool character, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, I'm going to get back to Dragon Age at some point. As I think I've said before, maybe as a stream thing. Once I'm done with Baldur's Gate, we may continue Dragon Age in that format instead. So, I don't really see why not, to be honest with you, because a lot of the things I do on YouTube, I do them on YouTube so I can add in all sorts of extra things through editing, and so I can edit stuff out, so I can edit stuff in, like the little cutscene-y things you get in what's it called? In Skyrim, the journal entries and the other LPs, that kind of thing. But Dragon Age, you don't really need to do any of that sort of stuff. It's already got nice cutscenes and dialogue and, cool stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't really need to mess around with it. All I need to do is sit down and play the game. So that's an ideal one to stream, a bit like Baldur's Gate, really. So, yeah. I wanted to stream some Baldur's Gate this week, actually, but again, exam stuff got in the way, so unfortunately there's nothing I can do about that. I'm thinking maybe Friday, if I do it this week at all. Maybe Friday. Maybe even Saturday, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's the status on those two things. To be honest with you, as far as Fallout 3 is concerned as well, playing that game has made me realise how much I prefer New Vegas to Fallout 3 anyway. So, if I ever came back to the world of Fallout, it may just be jumping straight into New Vegas. Because let's face it, Fallout 4 is probably not that long away now. So if I was ever going to do a New Vegas Let's Play, sort of around now-ish would be a good time to sort of start, to be honest with you, just so I can get it a reasonable way through it by the time Fallout 4 rolls around, so that I can keep playing New Vegas while all the bugs and things get patched out of Fallout 4, while the DLC comes out, while the good mods come out, and then I can start playing it. So, anyway, moving on to an actual question from an actual viewer. Well, a question that's not from just, multiple viewers. This comes from MJS December 1990. And it reads as follows. Other than the flight sims you have, do you think you will do any other sims such as Euro Truck or Train Simulator? Train Simulator, no. I don't even know what to do with that. I don't have it. I don't want it. Driving trains is something some people like. It's not I mean, obviously I went through that phase when I was about 4 years old where I was like, I want to be a train driver when I grow up, but I kind of, moved on from that. I liked when I play a simulator or something, it generally tends to be sort of simulating something that's fast and exciting. Trains sort of aren't, in my honest opinion. Euro Truck Simulator 2, though, I do actually have a copy of. I don't know, maybe it'd be the sort of thing I stream, to be honest with you. I'd never do a Let's Play Euro Truck Simulator. I mean, good grief. But yeah, I do have it, and I play it every now and again, usually just as a thing I do while I'm listening to a podcast or something more than anything else, to be honest with you, but there it is. But as far as other Sims go, I do have other Sims, like, for example, I do have Project Cars, which I play every now and again, and I have a racing wheel for it, as well as some pedals, so, and it's actually a hell of a lot of fun. I never really considered it being a recordable sort of a thing, because all it really consists of is going around a track again and again and again and again, which is great fun if you're playing it with a full force feedback racing wheel and stuff, but it's not so much fun to watch, I don't think. Plus, it's kind of noisy as well, to be honest with you. A force feedback racing wheel makes a lot of noise, and it would come up on the microphone, and it'd be a bit odd. So I don't know, but anyway, yeah. Anyway, so that's the answer to that question, I guess. Moving on, this one comes from TBLTTB, and it is: do you have a favourite football club? The answer is actually yeah. Norwich City. I'm a Canaries fan. There you go. For those that didn't know. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't keep up with football as much as I once did. Not really. At all, in fact. Like, it's just sort of a peripheral thing for me. It's a bit like rugby. I used to be really into rugby as well, but I don't really pay it much attention these days. But ostensibly, anyway, I am a Norwich City fan. So, yeah. If anyone asks me, what football club do you support? That's my default answer. So, yeah. Why? Well, because I lived in Norwich for a couple of years, and got to know the place, and still kind of consider it my home away from home. I do love that city. I think it's a great place to live, and it's much nicer than where I'm living right now, to be perfectly honest with you. But obviously I have no reason to live there in the minute because I'm not at university anymore. So But yeah, maybe one day I shall return there. I'll just buy a freaking house. If I become a YouTube millionaire, yeah, right, I know. But if I become a YouTube millionaire, I'll probably buy a nice big house in Norwich and just live there. But anyway, yeah. Moving on again. The Journey 2.0 asks, you said you had The Witcher 3 pre-ordered. Why do you pre-order games? I normally don't at all. I pre-ordered bloody Aliens Colonial Marines and was taught a very valuable lesson as a result. But normally I don't. But with The Witcher 3, I kind of knew it was going to be good. So I knew, one, I knew it was going to be good. Two, I wanted to support CD Projekt Red because I think they're an awesome company, frankly, and they have a really great business model for everything they do. And three, I'm quite invested in the story for the Witcher games, and I wanted to continue it regardless of whether the game was actually good or pretty meh. So I was going to play it anyway, one way or another. So that's why I pre-ordered it, essentially. And as it turns out, it is a phenomenal fucking game, so I feel vindicated in that somewhat. I don't take the view that you should never ever pre-order anything ever. I think that's silly. I don't like to deal in absolutes, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, you know. Generally, I don't pre-order stuff. Generally. Especially when I'm not entirely sure what it's going to turn out like. But if it's a dead cert, really, as far as I'm concerned with, like with The Witcher 3, something I'm just going to get anyway. It's often like that with Total War games for me as well. I quite often pre-order those too. I will get them. And also, quite often, it's the case where you can afford to buy something now, but you won't be able to afford to buy it when it comes out. I mean, that was very much the case with me with Witcher 3 as well. At the time, I had the spare money to pre-order it, but when the game actually came out, I was completely skint, and I had no money to spare. So, and you could say, oh, well, you could have just saved that money from pre-ordering it and then bought it later with that money, but it's not as simple as that, I'm afraid. It's not how finances work. I wish they worked like that, but they don't. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I pre-order some games. I must stress quite rarely, but yeah, sometimes I do. So yeah. Okay, what's next? Looking at my list here. AOW Gold Steel asks, do you think once Claudius's story is done and a long break from the game, would you ever do a Let's Play Skyrim again? Probably not. Gotta be honest, probably not. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, recently having almost, luckily it's been averted, almost come to the point where I thought I was going to have to stop the Skyrim LP. I didn't have any motivation upon facing that situation for doing another Skyrim series. I just didn't. I didn't want to, and I don't think I will play it again. I think Claudius's story really is the sole thing that is keeping me playing Skyrim at this point. If it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't be playing the game anymore. That's not to say I'd never play it again, but it would be as was the case with every Elder Scrolls game I have played. I would just stop playing it for a few years. As that was the case with Oblivion, frankly. Like I played Oblivion originally when it came out. I played the shit out of it, and then I put it down, and I didn't play it again until years later when I started my own Let's Play of it. So, you know, it's probably going to end up being the same with Skyrim. Once Claudius is done, I'm probably not going to touch Skyrim again for a good old while, to be honest with you. I've done a lot of the stuff you can do in Skyrim. The few things I haven't done in it, I'm not really that motivated to do anyway. I even struggle to watch other people's Skyrim Let's Plays at this point. It bores me to tears, I'm afraid that game does. I know it sounds really harsh, and I do like the game. I think it is quite good. And occasionally I will still play it every now and again. I'll just boot it up and I'll make a quick character and I'll just sort of run around and do some stuff for a little while. But it'll rarely last more than a week at most before I just get bored and move on. I can't really put my finger on why. I mean, it's weird because on paper Skyrim is one of my favourite Elder Scrolls games. I mean, I think it's second only to Morrowind in many ways, and yet I don't know. Maybe it is still second only to Morrowind because I get far more bored of Oblivion more quickly than I do Skyrim. And yeah, well, yeah, I guess that is a fair assessment then. Maybe it's I don't get as bored of it as quickly as I do Morrowind, but I do get bored of it quicker. I've forgotten where I was going with that particular sentence. Never mind. Moving on. Yeah, that's the truth, really. I will probably never play it again. The only exception I would ever make to that, I think, is if I continued on with a character from a previous Let's Play in Skyrim. Say, for example, if I took Fathis from Morrowind and continued in Skyrim, that I might do, but it would be a long time from now, and it would probably hinge on there being some decent mods available for me to play with that LP. But even then, I doubt it. I don't. God, I can't really discuss it without getting into spoiler territory now. But I have plans for Fathis, and they probably won't involve going to Skyrim. So, anyway. Yeah, I don't know what happened. What was next? Look at the list again. Okay, next question comes from the Slushy Bucket. Hi Dave, what do you like to do when you are not making entertaining videos to amuse your legion of subscribers? Oh, I'd hardly call it a legion. Legion's like... How many... It's like 10,000, isn't it? No, it's more like 8,000. Right, it depends on the period of history. Oh god, stop talking about history, Dave, you idiot. Whatever, it's a figure of speech, you idiot. Right, yeah, well, what do I do when I'm not making entertaining videos? Well, I usually just play games with friends, I suppose. I read books, obviously. I read a lot of books. I own a lot of books. I have 2 fucking Kindles, for Christ's sake. I do a lot of reading. And I do some writing as well. I like to do a bit of writing every now and again when I'm in the mood. When the mood takes me. I'm working on something at the minute. It's not going terrifically well, I've got to be honest with you, but I'm, working on something right now. And yeah, other than that, like I said, I play games with friends, whether that's doing flight sim stuff with guys in ACG, or just playing other stuff. Like recently, me and 3 other blokes, we started a Baldur's Gate run, multiplayer one with 4 of us, and that's been going quite well, and I've been really enjoying that. So, we play other stuff like Verdun, multiplayer stuff like Arma 3 every now and again. What's it called? Is it Insurgency, that one? Yeah, the shooter that's a bit like Counter-Strike. Yeah, that's the jobby, I think. And, stuff like the Total War games and Kerbal Space Program and that kind of thing. That's how I chill, I guess. And, sometimes I just boot up my PS4, because I've got a PS4, and I play something like a Pantheon, or Bloodborne, or FIFA. Believe it or not, actually, I own a copy of FIFA 15, and I really like it. So, yeah. It's one of those funny things, really. I mean, people sort of look at, like, all those EA Sports games like Madden and FIFA and go, oh, casual scum bro games. You don't, terrible, do not want. But actually, to be honest with you, they're quite hardcore. And in terms of gameplay, they're actually quite hardcore. I'm playing FIFA right now, and I'm doing a career mode as a manager. Yeah, it's the manager career mode. As manager of Norwich City, and it's quite hardcore. It's quite difficult, and it's done in an almost Iron Man format. Obviously, you can't die because you're managing a football club, not fighting a war. But you can't restart matches if you lose them. So if you get to the cup final and you lose it, and you fuck up and you fail, then it's tough shit. You just have to move on and play the next season. And I quite like it. Not only is the gameplay quite difficult and quite fast-paced and very, very skill-based, it's fun and it's tough. And yeah, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I don't play a lot of the sort of like this stuff like that FIFA Ultimate Team thing, which you always see videos pop up of in the recommendations next to a video. If a video's just come out and YouTube hasn't had time to throw any recommendations together, it'll quite often throw up some sort of god-awful FIFA Ultimate Team video. I don't even touch that stuff. I don't even know what it is, and I have no care to find out. As far as as far as I know, it just looks like the football stickers I used to collect in school, but developed in a video game format, and that just does not interest me in the slightest. I like playing the career mode, and that's about it. So, and the odd sort of international friendly, like I do England v Germany every now and again. Just always fun. Fucking lost on penalties last time I did that though. Oh dear. So yeah, that's what I do. Really, other than that, I guess watch stuff on Netflix and Amazon, like anyone else does. So, finished watching Vikings recently, which has gotten a bit more bizarre and silly as it's gone along, but I'm still kind of enjoying it. I'm obviously watching Game of Thrones at the moment, which I'm totally. I was beginning to worry that this season was going to be a bit shit, and then the latest episode on this last Sunday, as of this video, happened, and I was like, oh, fuck me, what an ending. So yeah, that was pretty goddamn cool. Rise of the Ice Zombies. Oh man, that was quite inspired, that entire sequence. But anyway, yeah. That's it really. That's it really. And occasionally I go to museums as well, because I'm a boring old fart like that. I go to usually World War II related museums. I've been to Duxford every now and again. In fact, I went up there in February and had a look at what they've got around there. And while I was up there, I actually got caught in a fucking blizzard. And it was quite surreal, really. I just sort of walked into one of the hangars, had a look at the aeroplanes and stuff. I think it was I think it was in the restoration hangar. So I was having a look at all the planes that they're probably going to have flying at the Flying Legends this July. And I was sort of in there having a look around, enjoying myself. When I walked back out again, suddenly everything, the entire field, was fucking covered in white. And the thing is, Duxford is not just a museum, it is a functioning aerodrome. So it has a big-ass open field with a runway down the middle. And the whole thing was just a sea of white snow, and it was just bizarre. Like, really, to walk indoors and have it be regular weather, and then come back out again and see that, it was quite funny. I might have some photos lying around somewhere. If I do, I'll maybe try and put them on the video, but if I couldn't find them, then tough shit, I guess. But, yeah. I will be at Duxford for the Flying Legends again this year. I'm going to be there with all the other guys from ACG, the ones you hear talking shit in the videos in the background of my ACG campaign series videos. I'll be down there with all of those guys. So if you happen to be at Duxford on the Flying Legends on the Sunday, and you see a bunch of guys wearing ACG t-shirts with our own little ACG enclosure, that'll be us. So pop over and say hi, I guess, if you want. So yeah. Anyway. Right, yes. Now 4 questions from some cheeky bastard called the Author 2077, who snuck in 4 here. But they're not bad questions, so I figured, what the hell. So the first of those is, what do you think of Ireland voting yes to same-gender marriage? I think. Good on you, Ireland. Well done. Jolly good. Well done on joining the rest of the civilized world. We got this sorted out a couple of years ago. Now you've joined us. It's jolly good. I kind of make a rule of not discussing politics on this channel as much as I possibly can, but as far as I'm concerned, that kind of thing isn't really so much politics as it is basic human rights. But now I've got an open can of worms, I can already tell. But anyway, moving swiftly on. What do you think of Valve's sudden termination of paid mods? I suppose this is old news, really, by this point, but I guess it's probably for the best in one sense, in that their paid mods setup was probably never going to work. As I've said before, I am not against paid mods at all, in principle. I come from the flight sim world, where paid mods have been a usual and completely ordinary thing for many, many years now, and, I hasten to add, has resulted in some fucking phenomenal mods as a result, actually. if you're into flight sims and you want to fly, so if you like, for example, if you're into flight sims and you like Spitfires like I do, probably the best fucking modelled Spitfire in existence in a simulation on a computer is the A2A Spitfire Mark 1 for a Flight Simulator 10. I've got that. It cost me we'll call it a pretty penny. It was on sale at the time, but it was still a little expensive. But it was worth every goddamn penny, and it was of a kind of caliber that is just above and beyond what you would be able to get with a free mod. It's the sort of thing that could have only been created in an environment where you could be paid to make a module for a game. And it's on that basis that I really support this kind of thing, because I know for a fact, because I've seen it with my own eyes in other games, that paid mods result in some amazing content eventually. Result in some slightly shit content every now and again, but mostly it results in some absolutely amazing stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things, I guess. But the way Valve are going about it, probably not the best way to do. I mean, it's Valve after all. At the end of the day, not very clever. Having them, of all people, be custodians over it. I'd rather it was Bethesda themselves, frankly, if anyone was going to do it, realistically. But, yeah, never mind. It just wasn't going to work. Not for a lot of the reasons people say. Like, people talk about how, with the way that Skyrim mods in particular work, because they have load order and they have conflicts and they have shared resources and blah, 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 blah. Not as much of an issue as you'd think, actually, and that's far from unique to Skyrim either. I know for a fact that Flight Simulator 10, which is something I play quite a bit of, another boring simulator with no combat in it, there you go. See, I play that, as well as Euro Truck Simulator. But that is a game that has exactly the same problems. It has load order, it has shared resources, it has all sorts of bollocks like that, and yet they still manage, somehow. So, yeah, I think that's bollocks. Frankly, people are bringing that up as a reason why it could never work for Skyrim, because it works for other things which have pretty much the same system. But anyway, moving on. Next question, again, still from the author 2077, is there a country you would have always liked to have visited but never really got around to? If so, which one? Egypt, easy answer. Well, there's quite a few, actually, countries like that, because I've never been abroad very much. I'm a bit of a Philistine like that. As first abroad I've ever been is Belgium. And it was nice, actually, Belgium. It was a bit smelly. Sorry, Belgium, but I must have arrived on a day when you were fertilising all the fields, like. And it was rather stinky. It was rather stinky. But it was, other than that, a very nice place. So, yeah. I've been to France, all over France quite a few times. Very, very nice country. I know. As an Englishman, it's my duty to take the piss out of France as much as I possibly can. But the truth is, actually, it's quite a nice place. So, yeah. Now, Egypt's a big one for me. I know lots of people have been to Egypt. It's quite a popular tourist destination, as you can imagine. But I've never had the chance to go myself. I was recently invited, actually, to go to Egypt with someone, but I don't have the money. I can't afford it. So, which I'm kind of gutted about, frankly. Oh, police car. Jolly good. Yeah, so Egypt's probably a top one. America probably comes second place. I'd like to go to the US someday. So catch a decent air show with stunt planes and rocket trucks and all the kind of ridiculous shit you guys put into air shows over there. And eat some of that, American food. Because, I mean, lots of people make it a stereotype about Britain that we have terrible food, and let me tell you for a fact that it's absolutely true. We have terrible food for the most part. And all I have to do is switch on the food channel and watch an episode of Diners, Drive-Ins and Dives. Wow. I got it on the second try, at least. And I suddenly realised, wow, yeah, restaurants in the UK are awful. So... yeah, I'd like to go to America, eat lots of nice food, go to a couple of museums, visit a few landmarks, do that sort of stuff. America's a pretty cool country. I'm not sure I'd go as far as saying I'd want to live there. Sorry, America. It's too much of a culture shock for a Brit like me. It really is. but it's a really goddamn fantastic place to visit, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so next question is in the same line as that. If you had to live in a place that isn't the UK, what would it be and why? I would say either Canada or Sweden. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a no-brainer for me. They have their pros and cons. I kind of like them equally. Canada also obviously is cool because it's in the New World, and I don't know, I have a bit of a fascination with the so-called New World. I used to read lots of books about, the what's it called, the French and Indian War. Was that it? Yeah, that's been a while, and that sort of thing, and the exploration of Canada, and that sort of thing. It's just a part of the world I have read about and am fascinated by. So it'd be a nice place to go, and obviously everyone still speaks English there, which helps. And it's just a beautiful country. I'd like to live out there somewhere, probably somewhere nice and quiet, out on the fringes, with lots of forests and stuff, where I can go, marching around in the wilderness, I guess. I like that kind of thing. There's not a lot of places you can get like that in the UK, unfortunately. Everywhere is very densely populated and full of towns and villages and things, so the idea of vast expanses of essentially wilderness is an alien concept to me, and one that I find quite thrilling, frankly. Obviously Sweden's the other one, because it's, in a similar fashion, it's a really cool part of the world, and it has the added benefit of being Sweden, You guys have ridiculously cool internet. You have ridiculously attractive women, I might add. And you have just all sorts of cool stuff. A great climate, a great landscape. Even the language is, from what I've gathered, pretty straightforward to pick up, actually, compared to a lot of European languages, It's a really cool place. And it would be a nice place to live if I was forced to move abroad, and maybe one day I will, out of pure choice. Sweden and Canada would probably be my top choices, really. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be, frankly. I don't know, Scotland, maybe. But I don't know. I'm not sure the Scots would appreciate it, really. Mind you, well, here's the thing. I mean, I was about to say, I have Scottish ancestors. I am very, very distantly related to the Munro clan, but of course the Munro clan fought for the English, so that's a bit of a moot fucking point. So never mind. Yeah, so the Munros fought for the English at the Battle of Culloden, for example. So that's probably not going to endear myself terrifically well in certain parts of Scotland, certainly, especially these days when the whole place practically in the last general election voted for the SNP rather than any of the British parties. So yeah. Anyway, we're getting into the realms of politics again, aren't we? That's very silly of me. Well, we've got kind of come to the end of the questions right now, really, I suppose. I've only got one last thing jotted down here, which is, when is Skyrim Chapter 6? Because everyone keeps asking, and the answer is, I don't know yet. As I said, I'm in a bit of a hectic state right now. I'm struggling with just Rise of Flight, Oblivion, and Morrowind at the moment. Trying to get them up on time and trying to build a buffer up for them as well. As soon as that shit is in order, then I can start thinking about Skyrim. And frankly, at this point right now, I don't really feel like playing Skyrim. I've really no motivation to do it. The motivation will return, as it always does. But right now, no, I don't want to play Skyrim. So I might as well not. Because, frankly, if I don't want to play a game and I force myself to do it, you guys instantly notice the difference. There have been a couple of Oblivion episodes so far that have been like that, where people have been like, look, dude, we can tell you're not enjoying this, just don't bother if you're not enjoying it, because it's no good, it's no fun to watch. And, that's the truth, so if I don't want to play Skyrim, I'm not going to play it, because it'll just result in crap videos. So there you go. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I think that's everything on the list I've covered. So thank you for the questions, everybody. They were rather good ones. I obviously just cherry-picked the ones I like the most. There was too many otherwise to answer them all in one video. And indeed, this one has gotten quite long at this point, judging by the timer in Audacity in the background. So I'm actually going to call it here. Obviously, if you've got questions for the next mailbox, whenever that happens to be, in theory it should be 2 weeks from now, but, you know, everything's been a bit mad lately, so God knows when it'll be around. But for the next mailbox, post your questions in the comments section, or post them to me via Twitter, or whatever you want to do. Just, you know, get them to me one way or another, and I will make a note of them. And there's a good chance you will have it answered in the next video. So, that's all for now, and I'll see you guys again next time. Ta-da.